we are doing two-step equations now. Yesterday we did one step. Today we're doing two-step. So now, today, you're either going to add, then multiply or divide, or you will subtract, then multiply or divide, or you will multiply, then divide. Okay, those are your possibilities. So you will either add, then multiply or divide, subtract, then multiply or divide, or multiply, then divide. Notice you always add or subtract before you multiply or divide, okay? And then you always multiply before you divide when that's step 3. Okay, so these are your 3 possible scenarios. You'll either add, then multiply or divide, subtract, then multiply or divide, or multiply, then divide. So those are our possibilities, okay? So let's look at an example. Five minus 2x equals 15. Now I wanted to do this one on purpose. Remember yesterday we had one that had -3 out in front? And I said, okay, remember I said it was either minus or a negative? Remember I also said that it's either addition or a positive? Remember we talked about if there's nothing out here, it's understood to be a what? It's understood to be a positive. If you need to, put the positive above it because you're going to do the opposite. You're going to do the inverse. What's the opposite or the inverse of positive? It's negative. So remember, you're going to add or subtract before you do anything else. So the inverse of positive is minus. So I'm going to subtract 5, but what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to subtract 5. 5 minus 5 is 0. They cancel out. Remember now, you have to bring everything down. This whole thing comes down. So that's -2x equals, what's 15 minus 5? That's 10. Now remember, we are still trying to quarantine this variable, right? We're still quarantining it. So remember again yesterday, we talked about it. They're sitting right on top of each other or right beside each other. This is multiplication. What's the opposite of multiplication or the inverse of multiplication? It's division. So I'm going to divide this by -2. But what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to divide that side by -2. Those cancel out. X is now quarantined. 10 divided by -2 is -5. So your answer is -5. Now we're going to add something called a check step. What you're going to do is you're going to rewrite your original problem. So 5 minus 2x equals 15. Now what did we just find x to be? We just found x to be -5. So you're going to take whatever x is and you're going to plug it in right there. So I've got 5 minus 2 times, but instead of x, I now know what x is. X is -5. At least that's what I think, right? We're checking it. This is a way to see if you got the right answer or not. Now, 5, a negative times a negative is always what? Positive. 2 times 5 is 10. I put a question mark because I'm checking to see if this is right. What is 5 plus 10? 15. Does that equal 15? Yes. So that means I got the right answer and I can move to the next problem. Okay? Miss Long, are we going to have to do the check step? Yes, you are. Because you need to be able to check to see if you got the right answer or not. If you get down here and they don't equal up, what should you do? You should go back and figure out what you did wrong. It was probably a sign error. Okay? You probably just added or subtracted wrong. All right, so that's that one. All right, let's do another one. All right, remember what we said. We're either going to add or subtract first. We're still trying to quarantine the variable. So we add or subtract first. Well, right here we have subtraction. What's the inverse of subtraction? Addition. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Cancel this out. This whole thing comes down. So I have x over 2 equals, what's 3 plus 4? 7. Remember, we're still in the process of quarantine. We're social distancing. Now, this is division. It's a fraction. It's division. What is the inverse of division? It's multiplication. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Now, remember, I'm going to multiply by the denominator. So I'm going to multiply both sides by that 2. The 2's cancel over here. That leaves me with x, which was the whole point. And then 7 times 2 is 14. So x equals 14. Now I have to do my check. Rewrite your original problem. X over 2 minus 4 equals 3. Now remember, I got x equals 14, so I'm going to put it right there. So I have 14 divided by 2 minus 4, and I want to know, does that equal 3? What is 14 divided by 2? Well, that's 7. What's 7 minus 4? It's 3. Does 3 equal 3? Yes. This is correct, therefore that is correct. So I can move on to my next problem. Okay? This is just a way for you to make sure you get the right answer and you don't lose points for something silly. All right? Now, that's an example for the second type. Now we're going to do one for the third type, and we're done with two-step. And then we'll do more in class, of course, and I'll do more with you on your loom for each section. All right, let's say you have this. When you have something like this, it doesn't matter where you put the negative. I typically leave the negative for the last piece. But remember, we're quarantining. All right? This is a fraction. So this is where you're going to multiply, then divide. You're going to multiply by the denominator. And then you're going to divide by the numerator. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. You're going to multiply by the denominator, and you're going to divide by the numerator. So I'm going to multiply both sides by the denominator, which is 3. Ran out of room, didn't I? That cancels out. Now I have to bring all of this down. So that's negative 2x equals 3 times 6 is 18. Now remember, we're still quarantining. We got a social distance. So now I'm going to divide by that numerator. So I'm going to divide both sides by that negative 2. Those negative 2's cancel, leaving me with the x, which was the whole point. And then 18 divided by negative 2 is negative 9. Am I done? No. I have to do my check step. So over here I go. Now remember, rewrite your original equation. This x value is going to go right here. So I'm going to have negative 2/3, but instead of x, I'm going to plug in what I found x to be, which was negative 9. Now remember, there's an understood 1 under there, so I can multiply straight across, okay? I want to know, does that equal 6? So what's negative 2 times negative 9? That's a positive 18. What's 3 times 1? That's 3. What's 18 divided by 3? Well, by golly, that's 6. So that means my answer is correct. Okay? So that is solving two-step equations. All right? So now, like I said, you'll have more examples in class. Make sure you're there. You will also have more examples on the worksheets themselves. So make sure you watch those. And I will see you next time.